Hi, today I have a message called Natural to be Joyful. So here is the short version. It's natural to be joyful. Everyone is learning and unlearning together, and everyone is loved and loving, the whole time they are learning and unlearning. The persons are helpful because they reflect thoughts about what you believe is possible and what you are likely to see. Think of spirit as a weightlifter who lifts the weight off you. Notice where you feel inclined to have an opinion for or against someone or something. So back to it's natural to be joyful. And just to be taken back to our root, back before we invented anything that doesn't exist and seem to get ourselves trapped in it, to just be reminded of our shared and joyful nature, and to know joy is the nature of everyone that we meet or think of. That's who they are under the fear we're projecting upon them. Joy is their nature. And that's very reassuring. It gets easier and easier to look toward that. There's whatever the ego wants us to focus on and analyze and figure out and problem solve about, and that generally takes care of itself. I've found the more I remember the simplicity of the being I'm with. The being I'm with is always very simple. The person I'm projecting from fear thought is quite complex. And I know I don't have the bandwidth to deal with that in the sense of one character dealing with another character. I truly do need to put spirit in charge of my perception of that one. But my part can be to remember the simplicity of their being, and that's remembering the simplicity of my being, and that they are joy. That is their nature. That's what's most natural to them. It doesn't matter how the person seems. That's the fear I projected on the being. So the person could seem to 100% contradict the idea that joy is their nature. It doesn't matter at all. I've been busy projecting fear. But when I remember that their nature is joy, it's such a beautiful relief every time. So they are not who I've made them up to be. What's most natural for that being is joy, and that's very good news. I'm probably not going to put it in these terms when I'm talking to people, but I can be aware of it, and then whatever words come to me, and those are the words I end up saying. A place where I still get tripped up, I notice myself tripping, I'm going to expose that just so it can be washed away and my perception can be corrected. So there are 2 A Course in Miracles discussion groups that I participate in now, and solely because I was sent specifically to them for my learning. So I'm there as both a student and teacher, because everybody's a student and teacher in every situation, and appreciating the experience of it. And where I keep tripping is I will see somebody and it looks like that person is being critical of another person, or is telling another person that they're wrong about analyzing the course, or implying that the other person is wrong, or implying that maybe there's a whole group of students that are going the wrong direction and they should be going this direction, or saying that it's quite likely someone's going to misinterpret the course, but the speaker understands it, and the speaker's going to share with us how we should interpret the course. I trip over this, and I often forget the nature of that one is joy. The shouldn't is louder in my mind than remembering the beautiful simplicity of the being. It does not matter what they're saying. It does not matter how ego interprets what they're saying or how ego analyzes what they're saying. The simplicity of their being is so beautiful that in this moment where it's very easy for me to look upon it, I can't believe I would take a moment to analyze their character. That seems unbelievable to me right now. Why would I look away from the most beautiful, shining, glorious thing in the world, where you can hear angels singing, to look upon my very own projection of fear. That's my fear I'm seeing projected upon them, and think that it's real. Like, that is how crazy that is. So I'm glad to be able to see that as crazy, and I'm glad to expose it, not for the purpose of claiming I'm right about what anyone is doing. That's my fear projection. For the purpose of having my perception corrected. Nothing makes me happier than seeing you as you are. And nothing the ego says about you can ever be true, thank goodness. Even the positive stuff, because that would separate you from others. So, but the fact of your sameness and in your true nature being joy, that's so beautiful. It's just, I'm just going to keep repeating myself, so I'll just leave it there. Okay. Everyone is learning and unlearning together, and everyone is loved and loving the whole time they are learning and unlearning. That's a good reminder, because sometimes I'll be in struggle and then I'll see reflections of that struggle around me, and I will forget everyone is loved. I'll think people are in special trouble or in special distress, and that will overshadow that idea of distress. The seeming reality of distress will overshadow my memory of, but look how much they're loved. And I realize when I can pause in that place of seeing how much they're loved, that does so much for me in my guidance of being able to understand what I'm supposed to say and do. It does so much more than focusing on someone's distress, thinking that it's real, and thinking that an ego needs to intervene and solve and fix it. So it's a very welcome transition to understand that resting in the remembrance of how much that being is loved can take care of everything. And I don't see very dramatic results in my day-to-day, but incrementally, just seeing more and more, everything gets taken care of, everyone is taken care of, everyone plays a part in all our distress being undone, and everything's good. We're in good and loving hands. That becomes more and more obvious. Okay, so everyone is loving the whole time they're learning and unlearning. And that's something for me to go back and remember, because in those situations where I see another character, I've projected my fear on them, and the ego's analysis of that one is that they're too analytical. They're not stopping to see how beautiful their brothers are. That's me in that very moment. I haven't stopped to see the beauty of my divine sibling, and for that to be enough, the beauty that they are, having nothing to do with what the human seems to be up to. Just stopping and recognizing their being, and seeing how much they're loved, how much they're loving, because every being is loving. And if I have projected an especially fearful surface upon them, that doesn't change the fact that their being is eternally loving. Forever. No one can put out the spark in anyone else. And when I put my attention on the spark in them, then the rays of light extend, and it's so obvious how loving their being is, and that their being is the real part about them. Their seeming humanness, or what their character's up to, let that be very flexible. Let the light take that over and shine right through it, and it takes whatever form it takes, but the form is not important. Differences in form don't matter. The important thing is the being, and being able to look toward the being and recognize the being, and that makes us happy. Now back to the person surface. The persons are helpful because they reflect thoughts about what you believe is possible and what you are likely to see. So whatever form that person seems to be taking, they're telling me, here's what you still believe. And I can feel it. When I feel any type of discomfort or distress or stress or tension, whatever it is, I can feel it. And that's the function of feeling. It tells you clean up on aisle 3. You need spirit to get in there in aisle 3 and clean that up. And the persons are helpful. So it's not like, yeah, we do value the being and understand the person's just a picture that's showing us something, but it's not showing us something about who essentially the being is, unless the person's only showing up as light and love, which is very rare in our experience that we meet someone that's only showing up as light and love. And when they do that, they're showing us in that moment we don't believe anything that isn't true. But when we encounter persons and we're being reactive to them, then they can show us exactly where the cleanup is needed, where we ourselves are believing something is possible. For example, if I seem to encounter a mean person, that means I think meanness is real and possible and quite likely, and likely from anyone or anything in any situation. So that's a whole big matrix of belief there that can be highlighted. And once it's highlighted by the helpful person, once it's highlighted, I think I have an example. I do have an example, okay, but let me finish the sentence. Once it's highlighted, Spirit can correct it for us. Spirit can correct our perception, because our perception is extremely flexible. Yesterday, my daughters asked for donuts. So I was at the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts, and I was asking for 2 donuts, which didn't seem like a lot. So I said one, and then I said the other. And after I said the first donut, the person through the drive-thru speaker said, wait, hold on, wait. Let me get over to where the donuts are. Just wait. It's like, okay. And I was thinking to myself, that seemed like an outsized reaction to someone saying 2 donuts. But I could feel where it touched in me. I felt resistance. And I felt like this person shouldn't be talking to me this way. Well, maybe they felt on their end, maybe they think 12 donuts are coming at them. They're not standing in front of the donuts. They don't even know. And maybe, that wasn't an outsized reaction because they thought 12 donuts were coming at them, not 2. So it was funny, and I didn't feel offended. Just for a second, I thought, why is someone standing in my way? When someone tells you to stop speaking, it feels like they're standing in your way or trying to push you back. So I was able to go in that moment and understand the resistance is coming from the meaningless world of fear I'm projecting, and not from the being. And the being's nature is joy. And it wasn't an unfriendly interaction at all. I was able to laugh, and it was fine. There weren't any problems. But even in those tiny moments of resistance where we think we've been interrupted unnecessarily, that's an opportunity to practice. Okay, the persons are helpful because they reflect thoughts about what you believe is possible and what you are likely to see. So, I believe it's likely to have people interrupt me. And isn't it good that that's uncovered and highlighted? And isn't it good that that's an unnecessary thought to be dragging around with me wherever I go? And if the speech of the person gets interrupted, fine. If the speech of the person doesn't get interrupted, fine. Like, there's a place where that's meaningless. And where Spirit is here guiding everything we perceive, everything we seem to interact with, and all the perceived speech and action coming from this being. There's a place where Spirit can take charge of that entire picture. And what we're about is allowing that to happen. Okay, think of Spirit as a weightlifter who lifts the weight off you. So I was given a picture of somebody, I think it's called bench pressing. They have a very big barbell, and they're lying on a bench and they're lifting it up, and there's a rack where they could put the very big heavy weight. But I think the spotter's there, so they don't drop the heavy weight on themselves and hurt themselves, because it would be on their neck. I think that's why you have a spotter. So that's the picture I saw. So okay, so I'm lifting the weight up, and then spirit, I'm not struggling with the weight. I'm not bringing it down and lifting it up and bringing it down. I lift it up once and spirit just takes it, and I have no weight. That's it. That's the point. So in that situation where the thought occurred to me, this person shouldn't be talking to me like this, I could let spirit just take the barbell away, take the weight away. And it's not mine to deal with. It's not mine to judge. And it's different than denying. If I'm denying, I still feel wronged. But this is not denial of feeling. It's using feeling to bring on healing. There's another rhyme. So once we allow the healed perspective, we see that everyone is our savior. So the person at the drive-through speaker is my savior. They help me see where I'm tripping up in thought, and they help me get my mind clear. And when my mind's clear, it's very clear to me that their nature is joy. And there's nothing between us, with just connection, just love. And again, if I'm lying to myself about that, I'm going to feel it, and then I can go back and do my work. But if I'm really seeing what's here, I'm going to be filled with joy, filled with light, happy to be here. And that's not my constant state. Every day I run into something that's a call for me to sit down and do my work. So, there are both sides of this right now in our experience. Think of spirit as a weightlifter who lifts the weight off you, and yes, everybody has that spotter. So I can also think of the one I see over there who, they're not helpless. They have the spotter, and when they've lifted weight up, this spotter can take the weight for them. And it's very important for me to remember that, to see that everybody is helped just as much as I am, because we're really the same being. It's really important for me to see how strong that being is, how assisted that being is, how all our strength is shared, because as I have to see their value, I have to see their ability, I have to have confidence in them in order for me to value anyone else, see anyone else's ability, have confidence in anyone, including me. I have to see it. I have to see it as it is. And seeing as it is makes me happy. And then I can share that happiness. Okay, notice where you feel inclined to have an opinion for or against someone or something. With the wildfires, I watched a little bit of news coverage, and my mind would start to go in the direction of who or what caused it, who or what is responsible. And opinions would start to form, and then I could see, it's like clouds forming in the sky, storm clouds, and I could see, I don't want to go in this direction. This is the direction of unreality. Here's where I manufacture fear surfaces, or I accept the fear surfaces my little machine of ego has manufactured for me. I do not want to go in this direction. So politically or otherwise, if I notice my opinions for or against someone or something, or even in terms of food, look at your opinions for or against the somethings of food. We could look at that too, and we could see right through it. Because the beingness of everything is innocence. Everything and everyone. Their beingness is innocence, and anything I've slapped on top of it with fear is plain and simple just a lie. Now I'm still going to be scared where I'm scared. I'm still going to have lines in the sand that I'm not going to cross. And that's fine, because Spirit can work with us wherever we believe ourselves to be. So that's no hindrance to Spirit. Notice where you feel inclined to have an opinion for or against someone or something. Let's see. I gotta pause and look at what I'm supposed to say here. Yeah, I couldn't really articulate it because it's kind of new to me. Lessons in this area of, what do I want to say, transactionalism. Like, because I give you this or I show you this, you should give me that or treat me this way. Like an idea, if I've decided my character is nice enough to you, there's no reason why your character should not be nice enough to me and give me the things that I give you. It's this transactional idea. And I can see how much judgment goes into it. Judgment of my character is being nice or doing these things or giving these things. And then a judgment and analysis of like your character by comparison is or isn't meeting my standards for how much should be given to me or how I should be interacted with, and so much judgment and analysis. So I'm entering no, this has been ongoing, but I guess I've just gone deeper, and I've gone one layer deeper into this transactionalism part. I think it's like in the common decency area. we're getting into the common decency area where I would have stiffness and rigidity and rules and regulations that would keep me from just relaxing and appreciating and showing up. So yeah, I'm happy to let any garbage go, to let any garbage surface, and to let it go today, and to recognize your nature as joy, so I can recognize and experience my nature as joy too. Okay, happy healing.